After Yao Lao's resurrection, the name that once struck awe across the Central Plains once again echoed through the heavens. The old master who had once fallen to treachery, whose soul had been sealed and tormented for countless years, finally returned. Not as the gentle and humble pharmacist of old, but as a true Dou Sheng, whose every breath carried the weight of vengeance, justice, and time's bitter lessons. His heart, long tempered by betrayal and exile, had hardened into steel. Those who once mocked him, framed him, or betrayed his trust, none would escape his judgment. The first wave of vengeance was inevitable. The moment Yao Lao regained his strength, he sought out the Scorpion Demon and the Three Ghosts, names that once conspired with the Soul Hall in his downfall. They were remnants of evil slithering in the shadows of the continent, thinking the world had forgotten. But Yao Lao's memory was flawless, sharper than his pills and deadlier than his flames. Though the details of their fates were never widely recorded, their disappearance from the Central Plains soon after Yao Lao's return left no doubt. The Dou Sheng of the Tianfu Alliance had quietly erased their existence from the mortal world, but vengeance is rarely satisfied with only the weak. After reuniting with Xiaoyan, Yao Lao's goals began to shift from personal vengeance to a higher purpose, wiping out the Soul Hall entirely. The Human Hall's destruction was one such milestone. For the Alliance, it was a war. For Yao Lao, it was personal retribution. His target was clear: Saint Gu Yu, one of the Dou Shengs who had once hunted him like prey. However, fate always has its cruel sense of irony. Guarding the Human Hall that day was not just Saint Gu Yu, but also Elder Mugu, once a fellow disciple of their shared master, Han Shanshan. To see the man he once called senior brother standing among his enemies sent a cold fury through Yao Lao's veins. He remembered the betrayal that shattered their sect, the disappearance of Han Shanshan, and the whispers that Mugu had orchestrated it all. To Yao Lao, this was no ordinary traitor. It was the man who had destroyed their master's legacy and caused his own suffering to multiply. Yet before Yao Lao could even question him, before he could demand the truth about Han Shanshan, fate robbed him once again. Xiaoyan, ever vigilant, discovered Mugu's aura and the familiar fluctuation of the sea heart flame within his body. With calm ruthlessness, Xiaoyan ended him in an instant, crushing his body, claiming the heavenly flame, and erasing the last trace of Elder Mugu from the world. Yao Lao stood still, silent as the ash drifted away. He hadn't spoken a word, but inside his heart was a battlefield. He wanted to be angry, angry that Xiaoyan had stolen his moment, angry that Mugu had died without explanation. But when he saw Xiaoyan absorb the sea heart flame, his fury melted into melancholy. The truth, unknown to him, was that Elder Mugu had never betrayed Han Shanshan. Han Shanshan had vanished not because of him, but for Yao Lao himself. For love, for protection, for a cause Yao Lao would never know. Fate had once again woven its cruel web, binding truth and misunderstanding together until even vengeance lost its meaning. Still, vengeance was the fire that kept Yao Lao alive. With Mugu gone, his next prey was Saint Gu Yu. This man had long been etched in Yao Lao's soul as one of his greatest disgraces. In their last battle, both were only half a step from sainthood. Evenly matched, Yao Lao had been on the verge of victory when Gu Yu joined hands with old demon Chen Ming to ambush him. In that chaos, Gu Yu struck a coward's blow, nearly crippling Yao Lao's soul. For that betrayal, Yao Lao had sworn he would one day return the pain tenfold. Now standing as a true Dou Sheng, his wish was finally within reach. When the Tianfu Alliance stormed the Human Hall, Yao Lao found Gu Yu amidst the ruins. The mere sight of the old traitor reignited the embers of his rage. Flames coiled around his body, twisting the very air, as his killing intent surged. But Gu Yu, the shameless man that he was, instantly understood his doom. Without hesitation, the mighty saint turned tail and fled, darting through the skies in desperation. Yao Lao gave chase, his robes fluttering like fire, laughter echoing coldly behind his fleeing enemy. He could taste the fear in the wind, but before he could deliver the final blow, a flash of violet light streaked across the battlefield. Ziyan descended like a thunderclap. One punch, nothing more. The earth trembled, the air shattered, and Gu Yu's body was obliterated into pulp, his soul annihilated before Yao Lao's very eyes. In the silence that followed, Yao Lao merely sighed. The man he had longed to kill for years had died, yet not by his hand. There was no satisfaction in vengeance unfulfilled. As the dust settled, he turned and followed Xiaoyan home, his heart quieter than ever. Some debts, he realized, were too old to repay. But there was still one name that Yao Lao could not escape: Feng, the traitorous disciple who had once called him master, who had learned everything from him only to stab him in the back for power. Even after resurrection, Yao Lao rarely spoke of him. The wound was too deep, the memory too vivid. Yet Yao Lao knew Feng's soul was not gone. Venerable Feng had told him everything. Xiaoyan had long since captured it and sealed it within a jade bottle. For a long time, Yao Lao pretended ignorance. He did not ask, did not demand it back. It wasn't forgiveness. He simply didn't wish to reopen that wound. To him, Feng was both his greatest failure and his greatest pain. But before Xiaoyan broke through to the Dou Sheng realm, he presented the jade bottle to Yao Lao himself, in front of Medusa and Xiao Xiao. It was not merely an offering, it was an act of filial piety, a disciple honoring his teacher. A silent plea for Yao Lao to let go of his past. Yao Lao accepted the bottle, his hands trembling slightly. The soul within it flickered weakly, a ghost of the man Feng once was. No words were spoken. Yao Lao did not curse, nor rage. He simply turned, sleeve fluttering softly, and placed the bottle away. That night, the faint cry of a soul being extinguished was carried away by the wind. And so, Feng, the once promising alchemist, the disciple who had betrayed his master for ambition, vanished from the world entirely. Not a trace of his essence remained. Yao Lao never spoke of it again. To the world, it was as if the name had never existed. Yet even after all of this, one more grudge lingered. A hatred not born of betrayal, but of pride and bloodline. Yao Wangui. Once a patriarch of the Yao clan, he had forced Yao Lao out of his own family, branding him a disgrace for his impure heritage. Worse still, to protect his grandson's position, Yao Wangui had sent assassins after Yao Lao, ensuring he could never return to his clan's embrace. For Yao Lao, who had once revered his clan, it was a wound deeper than any knife. When Xiaoyan later entered the Yao clan to compete in the pharmacopoeia, he learned of this past. By then, Yao Lao was already a respected Dou Sheng, revered by countless alchemists, yet Yao Wangui still dared to mock him publicly, calling his bloodline impure, his name unworthy. Xiaoyan, standing beside his teacher, could endure no more. The flames within him surged, and if not for Yao Wanhuo's intervention, Yao Wangui would have been reduced to ashes on the spot. Though Yao Lao did not strike him personally, he didn't need to. Watching the arrogant elder tremble before his disciples, his pride shattered, was more satisfying than any blow could be. The Yao clan that had once cast him out now stood humbled, forced to recognize the power and prestige of the man they had forsaken. In that moment, Yao Lao's vengeance was complete, not through blood, but through dignity restored. Thus ended the tale of Yao Lao's vengeance, a saga written not merely in flames and death, but in the weight of memory, regret, and redemption. For every enemy that fell, every ghost he faced, there was always a trace of sorrow lingering behind his calm eyes. Yao Lao had avenged his master, his dignity, and his soul. Yet the cost of that vengeance was eternal solitude. He had risen from ashes, but even as a Dou Sheng, some wounds would never heal. The heavens bore witness to a man who once fell as a soul fragment and returned as a legend. Yao Lao's fire no longer burned for vengeance. It burned for legacy, for his disciples, for the belief that even after 1,000 betrayals, kindness and wisdom could still endure. And so, the once hunted alchemist walked forward once more, not as a man bound by hatred, but as a master whose flames would light the path of generations to come. And so, after countless trials of betrayal and vengeance, the story of Yao Lao came full circle. From a soul once scattered by treachery to a Dou Sheng whose flames shook the heavens, his life was more than just a tale of revenge. It was a testament to resilience, loyalty, and the unbreakable bond between master and disciple. Though his enemies met their end, Yao Lao's heart found peace not through destruction, but through forgiveness and the legacy he passed on to Xiaoyan. His journey reminds us that even in the darkest flames of betrayal, one can still forge a light that guides others. If you enjoyed diving into the hidden chapters of Battle Through the Heavens, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next deep exploration of this legendary world. This is KSR Narrations, and we'll meet again in the next story, where the embers of fate continue to burn and the heavens await the rise of the next legend.